Hey everyone, today is April 1st, 2024. I'm on the podcast alone today. Today I'm going to speak about the NAR National Association of Realtors antitrust ruling. So today's podcast is brought to you by Zayuk. Zayuk is an HOA management company. We're based here out of San Diego. Our values are transparency and cost effectiveness. We see HOA management as a form of decentralized asset management, and it's a big deal when a bunch of people, usually strangers, end up owning property together. And it's something that we'll talk about how community associations, how builders and developers are affected by this NAR antitrust suit. And but again, we think that being a member of the community is something worth doing in your life. So we'll get right into it. So first, the NAR antitrust ruling. So a recent legal settlement between the NAR and Missouri Realtors leaves the real estate industry pretty unsure of what the future holds. The industry group denied wrongdoing, but will pay $418 million over 4 years. Remove compensation offers from the MLS and require MLS participants to enter written agreements with buyers. And what is an MLS? A multiple listing service, private database used by real estate professionals to assist clients in buying and selling properties. Only real estate agents have access to these MLSs, and it's a big deal because, again, when you have the compensation offers being placed in these private databases, but only real estate agents have access to them, this is a form of centralized asset, a centralized economic. I mean, these types of factors, are why people tout the virtues of Bitcoin, which is decentralized, because you don't run into issues like this where you have to pay these individuals who are members of an organization that have rights to this data, specifically the compensation of both agents, which allows them to bake in these standards. Whereas if you place the compensation publicly, again, this is then there's competition, and it allows the purchaser of the real estate, the seller of the real estate, to negotiate when they can now have everyone's price available. And this is, again, a big deal. Doing it, require multiple listings, participants to enter written agreements with buyers. This is something where, you go to a sandwich shop, you don't start, asking them to start making sandwiches. And after they've made a few sandwiches, you see, their array of sandwiches, and then you're like, I'm going to choose that sandwich. And then they come up with a price for you. But then imagine that for every single sandwich shop. So now you have to go to each sandwich shop, start talking to them, ordering sandwiches. I mean, you can leave, but this is, pricing transparency is a huge deal. It's a huge deal in this country. Another industry that has a huge issue with pricing transparency is the medical industry. We're not going to get into that. But this is, so right now it's about making the compensation offers transparent, and then making the payment agreement between the buyer and the buyer's agent, to be written and contractual before any work is done. So Goodbye are the days of being able, I know maybe things will change, maybe some form of technology will come in and transform things, but goodbye are the days most likely of getting into view homes for free, unless they can figure out. I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, many of these articles that I'm reading will speak about how the dust hasn't settled and no one really knows what's going to happen. Um, so again, by having this sort of centralized area that the consumer doesn't have access to, it created potential ethical violations of buyer agents using MLS postings to consider commissions before alerting clients to houses. So again, if you can only imagine what that means, you have your agent, they're checking which MLS listings have like the best commission, so that the ones that are going to pay him as the buyer's agent well. And then if the one said, we're not going to let the buyer's agent, then they would just brush over those. And so this is an issue when you don't have public access and pricing transparency. It creates issues like that, where, if you don't have the price beforehand, then no one can corroborate that this person is really giving you all the available listings. So moving on, 6%. Michael Ketchmark, the lead trial attorney for plaintiffs in Kansas City case against NAR, said the elimination of broker compensation from the MLS is a victory for consumers. Tremendous benefit to home sellers and buyers, lowering amounts of commissions on costs of buying and selling a home. Commission rates have been negotiable, but some imply that they're fixed at 6%. In the Kansas City case, large interests with the industry made efforts to present commissions as fixed. Quote, we put on evidence live witness testimony, internal training videos, and documents that showed ... There actually had been collusion at the highest corporate levels to fix commissions at 6%. End quote, Ketchmark said. Another charge under the settlement is that MLS participants working with buyers must enter written agreements specifying what services they will provide and at what cost. So starting in July, any interaction working with buyers, you're going to have a written agreement going into that beforehand. And so what is a written agreement? A buyer agency agreement, contract between the buyer and real estate professional representing the buyer during the buying process. Can be exclusive, non-exclusive, various terms and conditions, the agent's responsibility and duration of the working relationship, and commission stipulations. So it's pretty much, what are you going to do? How much is it going to be for? Is this exclusive, just you, non-exclusive? Many things. And I think this will become more fine-tuned. And this will become, how this is presented before any viewings and before any listings are showed. Some agents already have this process in place, others, many don't. But buyers should be aware that they almost certainly, they won't be able to work with a real estate professional without a buyer's agreement in place. And, what you want in that buyer's agreement is probably going to become much more wide range. And that depends on the customer's preference. Do you want, many people are going to want still a high quality buying agent. You probably should get a good, well reviewed, trusted buying agent. Maybe you want to do it on your own if you're capable and you really don't want to pay anyone. But if you're just a lay person and not really don't consider yourself very equipped in real estate transactions, very likely you'll need to shop around for a high quality real estate agent. Probably won't have to pay 6%, but still, you want someone representing you. And this is the thing: a lot of the great representation is very likely to stay. Realtors, the realtor industry is like 90-10, where 90% of the transactions done by 10% of the agents. So those high quality agents are very likely to stay. But just to explain, we talk about buyers being able to sell. Real estate developers are also going to be able to save. I'm sorry, buyers are going to be able to save, but real estate developers are also going to be able to save. For example, one real estate developer, DR Horton, paid $1 billion to real estate agents in the last 2 years on commissions, according to builderonline.com. That is a lot. So those are going to dramatically increase. Imagine that savings is over 50%, very likely, very possible that could be over 50% saved right there. That goes back into DR Horton's pocket. That makes them able to invest back into their business. They're able to do whatever they like with that. Hopefully they build more homes. And, for us in California, assist with the housing shortage, maybe give them more incentive to build here. But this is a good thing for buyers, a good thing for developers. Here I'm on Builder Online, and they talk about indirect costs may be higher. So commissions are a direct cost, but then, now you're going to have to possibly pay commissions. Developers still are going to want representation. And here, they talk about for builders and developers, more concerned about, I saw it right here. Give me a moment. Visuals. It was about digital marketing. It was pretty much about, they're going to have to sell, and so that's true for everyone. You all have to sell, digitally, but it gives builders and it gives purchasers of real estate, less costs. It lowers the cost of real estate transactions, maybe only by 3-4%, but that's still, goes back into everyone's pocket. And just to speak, how this was represented in the stock market, here I'm on CNN.com. This was actually March 15th, and home builder stock rose 2.5 to 1%, while real estate broker at Redfin fell nearly 5%. So that was represented even on Wall Street. The sentiments of the NAR settlement. And so, we talked about what this settlement was. It was a no longer being able to place the commissions on the MLS, and there was also a second piece. Let me get to a real. Excuse me. So, enter written agreements, the buyer representation agreements beforehand. So those are two big things. And so what does that mean for, this podcast is hosted or sponsored by Zayuk, and I'm the founder of Zayuk. So we're in community association management. This is a good thing. We believe this lower costs should increase transactions, because it now costs 3 or 4% less to purchase real estate. Developers of real estate now should have lower costs on their businesses, which should hopefully would incentivize them to also build more. And we're going to have a podcast about density, housing density. As community association management company, we are proponents of high density housing. And so with these builders, we're hoping they come out, build high density housing. And it's going to be more profitable for them. So they're going to be able to make more incentive to do it. I think I've already repeated that several times, but again, we should expect more transactions. People should now consider, hey, you have high interest rate, but now we get a little kick, in July. It's very interesting to see how that buyer's representation agreement is going to be done across real estate businesses, because you're going to have some that I think are more boutique that might do a higher commission, and people will take that depending on the service provided. And then you're going to have the affordability one that's really just get me what I need, and that one will be a lower cost. But at the end of the day, people should look into purchasing because this is a good thing for buyers. And so that's really how it can affect you all. And for a company like Zion, which is a prop tech company, we have our safe and we believe in our safe. This is a big deal. I was a real estate agent, and I noticed the MLS was very centralized, very private. And we spoke about pricing transparency, but the liberalization, I don't know, liberalization of that data should be good for services provided to the end consumer. There should be better services, cheaper services with more people's eyes, more technologist eyes on that data, more real estate analyst eyes on that data, to be able to work with it and to be able to create better tools for everyone, for themselves, for their companies, for the consumer. So again, going back to decentralized finance, Bitcoin, this plays right into it. This is what people are wanting. They want things that are lower cost and costs that they don't see as necessary to be taken out, so that level playing field. Thank you, everyone.